Welcome to Headline Focus, here live on Core Politics with me, Rob Double. As you can see, we are in the heart of the European Parliament, in Brussels again, bringing you another Inside Europe. But before then, let's take a look at what's making the headlines back in the UK today. So to start off with, quite an interesting story for the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Philip Hammond. He has been banned from using a fleet of RAF jets and helicopters until the Treasury settles a bill with the Ministry of Defence. Now, it's reported he owes a six-figure sum, basically for previous flights from the past year, which the Treasury has not paid for. All other departments, the Foreign Office, the Brexit Secretary, the Prime Minister, always pay for the use of the private jets and the helicopters for their state business. However, the Treasury is behind, and this is causing a bit of a backlog, and the Ministry of Defence has decided to get tough. Now, Gavin Williamson, there's a context to this politically. Gavin Williamson, the new Defence Secretary, is currently undergoing a bit of a negotiation with Philip Hammond over money. He's trying to get $2 billion more extra for the defence budget to stave off further cuts in the future. Next up, let's have a look at what's going on with regards to the Middle East. Now, President Donald Trump has confirmed that he will unilaterally recognise Jerusalem as Israel's capital. That's reported to be today, so expect news of that when America wakes up in a few hours' time. Interestingly, the Pope has already basically refuted what President Trump is about to do, saying that the status quo should be preserved for Jerusalem. Currently, it is disputed between Palestinians and Israelis, and so very, very interesting story there. Going to be more news lines on that from the international news feeds later on today. Let's have a look at the main story today, as we're in the European Parliament in Brussels, and we're going to be talking Brexit later on with key members of the European Parliament in the Brexit steering group. Let's talk about Brexit. Now, Theresa May is facing growing pressure to secure a breakthrough in the Brexit talks with the EU, specifically on Ireland, on the Brexit rights of citizens, and also the Brexit divorce bill. Sufficient progress needs to be confirmed next week in the European Leaders' Council. If that doesn't happen, there's a worry that a lot of businesses and a lot of companies will enact contingency plans into the new year, and that's when things start moving and people start moving from the UK. Interestingly, if you have a look at City AM's, David Davis is seeking to reassure MPs over a future of Northern Ireland. This is after the intervention of the Democratic Unionist Party, undermining the UK-EU relationship, which was to some extent to do with regulatory alignment. The hardline Brexiteers obviously are not happy with any concept of there being further relationships with the single market and customs union with the UK, but also the DUP do not want to see any different or special status for Northern Ireland separate to the union. So really, really interesting stuff. Theresa May might be coming to Brussels today. We don't know yet. We're going to find out in the next few hours if she can get a deal with the DUP and come back to Brussels to sign off on a final agreement. One more story then coming from the Telegraph, a bit of a sad story and worrying story, a plot to kill the Prime Minister Theresa May. Now, counter-terrorism police have foiled an alleged plot to kill the Prime Minister. This was aimed at detonating a bomb outside Downing Street, number 10 Downing Street, where obviously she is based, and in the confusion which ensued around a bomb attack, then use a knife to assassinate the Prime Minister. Now, this was a plot by the police and MI5, which they foiled, and also reports that the MI5 and the police, of course, have foiled 22 plots in the last 4 years, and a real increase in the amount of domestic threat from terrorism. That's pretty much it for today from Brussels. You're up to date. Don't forget you can find all the latest on what we're doing in Europe here on Core Politics on our Facebook page and Twitter. We're going to be bringing you more coverage from Europe later on today, 8:30 tonight, the first episode's to be released. But from me, Rob Double, and all the team here in Core London, both here and in the UK, have a fantastic start to your day.